The Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. Once upon a time, in a land shrouded in enchantment and surrounded by towering mountains, there lived a kind and beautiful queen. Her beauty was renowned far and wide, but her heart was even more radiant. The queen's greatest wish was to have a child, an heir to the throne, to share her love and happiness with. One winter's day, as she sat by her window, gazing out at the snow-covered landscape, she pricked her finger with a needle and wished for a daughter as fair as the snow, with lips as red as blued and hair as black as ebony. It was a heartfelt wish, made with all the love in her heart. Her wish was soon granted, and she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl with skin as white as snow, lips as red as roses, and hair as black as ebony. They named her Snow White. Sadly, the queen's joy was short-lived. Shortly after Snow White's birth, the queen fell ill and passed away. The king was heartbroken, and he couldn't bear to see his daughter without her mother. He decided to remarry, hoping to find a loving mother for Snow White. However, the new queen was not as kind and gentle as the previous one. She was a wicked and jealous woman who practiced dark magic. The wicked queen had a magic mirror, which she would ask every day.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
The mirror, bound by magic to speak the truth, would always reply,
"You, my queen, are the fairest."
The queen was content with this answer for many years, but as Snow White grew, she could not help but notice that her stepdaughter was becoming more beautiful with each passing day. One day, when Snow White had turned 16, the mirror gave a different answer.
You, my queen, are fair, it's true, but Snow White's beauty shines anew.
Enraged and consumed by jealousy, the wicked queen ordered her huntsmen to take Snow White deep into the forest and kill her.
Snow White must be eliminated. Bring her heart to me.
I'll do as you ask, my queen.
The huntsman, however, could not bring himself to harm the innocent princess. He led her deep into the forest, explained the queen's wicked plan, and set her free.
I cannot harm you, Snow White. Run far away and never return.
Snow White was frightened and alone in the dark forest, but her kind and gentle nature drew the woodland creatures to her, and they helped her find shelter. Snow White eventually stumbled upon a small cottage deep in the forest. It was the home of 7 dwarfs who worked in the nearby mines. They welcomed her with open arms when they saw how kind and gentle she was, and they offered her a place to stay.
May I stay here, kind sirs?
Of course.
Snow White agreed to keep house for them in return for their hospitality. Meanwhile, the wicked queen soon discovered that Snow White was still alive, thanks to her magic mirror.
I must take matters into my own hands.
Consumed by anger and jealousy, she decided to take matters into her own hands. She transformed herself into an old hag and used a poisoned apple to trick Snow White into taking a bite.
One bite of this apple, dear, and all your troubles will disappear.
The apple cast a deep slumber over Snow White, and only true love's kiss could awaken her. The dwarfs, upon finding Snow White in her enchanted slumber, placed her in a glass coffin to keep her safe. As time passed, news of the sleeping beauty in the glass coffin spread throughout the land. One day, a prince heard the story and ventured into the forest to see the legendary beauty for himself. Upon seeing Snow White, the prince was captivated by her beauty and gently kissed her. Snow White awoke from her deep slumber, and the prince declared his love for her. They decided to marry, and the wicked queen, who had learned of her stepdaughter's revival, was not invited to the wedding. The queen, believing herself finally to be rid of Snow White, asks again her magic mirror who is the fairest in the land. The mirror says that there is a bride of a prince who is yet fairer than she. the queen decides to visit the wedding and investigate. Once she arrives, the queen becomes frozen with rage and fear when she finds out that the prince's bride is her stepdaughter, Snow White herself. The furious queen tries to sow chaos and attempts to kill her again, but the prince recognizes her as a threat to Snow White when he learns the truth from his bride. As punishment for the attempted murder of Snow White, the prince orders the queen to wear a pair of red-hot iron slippers and to dance in them until she fell to the ground, never to rise again. Snow White, the prince, and the 7 dwarfs lived happily ever after, their love and kindness overcoming the darkness that had threatened to consume them. And so, the story of Snow White became a tale of beauty, kindness, and the triumph of love over jealousy and evil.